My name's Tony Cash, and this is my wife, Kim, and we're the founders of Freedom Lake Ministries. The men we disciple come from years, decades, a lifetime of abuse, and they never had a chance. They just lived a life of destruction and chaos. We give them the time, the space to grow in their walk with God, to develop their relationship with God, and to find their purpose.
The entry point for the ministry is inside a substance abuse program in a low-security prison. It's where Tony and I started back in 2018 when we felt the Lord leading us there.
We go into the institution 6 days out of the week, and on the seventh day we bring some out to church. When we come in, we're there 3 to 5 hours, sometimes longer.
We're introducing them to Jesus, and we're cultivating and developing that relationship. They're learning how to deal with spiritual convictions. They're learning how to overcome things that overcome them through biblical practices of Scripture and learning Scripture and learning how to do that.
It certainly has an effect on them to make a connection with God and Jesus and find their faith. When you're at rock bottom and you don't know where to go, that's the best place to go, is to reach out for Jesus and say, please help me.
You know, at an early age, I suffered from some pretty traumatic things. I went through some physical and some sexual abuse. My mother was an addict. My father was in prison. It was pretty hard for me. I went through some hell, man.
Well, grew up on a farm, played sports all through high school. I messed up my knee pretty bad in basketball one year. Had to have surgery and got put on painkillers.
Been around alcohol the majority of my life. To support my habit, I began to sell drugs, became a heroin and fentanyl addict.
As I got older, I started using pills. Later on, using heroin and meth and alcohol. I was an alcoholic.
Fast forward, it didn't take very long to going through some problems.
I've been to over 15 drug rehabilitations, I'd say.
And I just progressed. I had nothing to live for. I was in and out of institutions, jails, and rehab.
You know, getting in trouble with the law. I was going jail to jail to jail. I think I ended up going 5 different jails.
About the past 10 years, I've been locked up in 3 different states. I've been in over 6 or 7 hospitals, and nothing was doing it for me.
Ended up at CTS Russell. You know, I'd heard there was church downstairs, and a guy invited me down there. I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. And I went downstairs, and then that's when I met Tony.
Just like in my life, I came to know God, but I fell many times after that. I got a 19-page criminal history after knowing Jesus. From the age of 11 to age 49, I lived anywhere between 36 and 38 years incarcerated. In 20 of those years, I've lived in solitary confinement. I know a lot about anger. I know a lot about darkness. I know a lot about having a mind that's been programmed with anger and rage, and it took years to grow spiritually mature. And today, I train and teach and disciple men for Him. There's no greater joy than seeing someone say, wow, I do have a purpose.
I already had the idea of the man I wanted to be, but there was a man in front of me that was showing me he's done it.
Well, Tony always says, don't come with a plan unless your plan is to grow in your walk with God.
I want to try to be like Jesus. I've learned a lot about how to be a leader. I try to do it through compassion and love, which is something that until I came here was really foreign to me. I honestly feel that compassion and love for these guys because I've been where they've been, and I know how easy that it is to fall back into that old way.
So this is an opportunity that we give the men to continue that journey and come live with us. And we invite them into our home where we're at, and we live and work with them, and we help them understand what it's like to balance a spiritual life with a work life. So allowing God to work in a quiet setting where biblical principles are taught, where you're learning how to balance your spiritual life and work life. We have lots of projects that we have for the men that they can do.
They learn vocational skills. They have opportunities to learn woodworking skills, mechanical skills, landscaping skills. They learn how to use power tools and chainsaws and operate tractors. They learn the things that responsible men do, that's life. I don't know of any ministries that is so devoted to the discipleship process to the point that we're willing to cover cost of living for the first 2 phases, which is 6 months.
There's a lot of cost that goes into taking care of men who we're asking not to work because we don't want their focus to be on money. That's what they're used to doing. And we want the men to serve God first, always and foremost. That needs to be their priority. So we want to be able to provide everything for them. And that is from soup to nuts, getting them food, providing them clothing, providing them the transportation that's needed, providing the court fees that they have to pay, and the child support. We pay child support for them. When they come out, we don't want them to have a worry in the world. For a minimum of a year is to say, I'm going to continue this journey that started inside an institution. I want to continue to walk with God so that I can be prepared or more prepared and equipped to go out and face the world when God calls me there.
The guys who did get involved in the discipleship and continued with it, we saw a huge change in them. And the success that we've seen in them has been surprising and gratifying as well. I think pouring into the guys in the way that they do impacts their lives in a way that we don't. It does a lot for them. It changes their life.
And then God starts rewriting their stories. And then as they start to experience God restoring their lives and restoring their relationships and their families, it's something that they want to taste. And that taste of the goodness of God is what changes the trajectory of their lives.
There is such a freedom in knowing Christ that words can't really explain it. I'm going to minister to guys till the day God calls me home. I want to be with Freedom Lake as long as the Lord calls me here. It's simple for me. I just got to do what He asks of me. He's got my best intentions at heart.
My life is just amazing. He's given me every prayer I've asked Him sincerely is something that will bring Him glory. He's given me in my life now. I wake up today and I look in the mirror and I'm proud of who I am, and it's because of what Jesus done for me. He's always there for me, and He'll never leave me, and He'll never forsake me. And just knowing that in my life allows me to get up and go in and serve others. Tony and Kim helped me get to where I am today by just showing me love. They were consistent in my life when no one else was.
God will speak to you in many ways, It's a true blessing to be able to be here and have the space and the grace to be able to study the Word.
The purpose of coming in is to give the men what I never had when I was incarcerated. I wish I had someone that came in and spent that much time investing the knowledge and the experience that we're investing into them. I wish I had that. Instead of them walking out of jail with a bag full of old clothes and a few old letters, no plan and nothing in front of them. Well, when they're done here, they'll leave like normal people, responsible people. They'll have a bank account. They'll have a plan. They'll have a direction they're going. They'll be equipped and prepared, and they'll always have the bond and connection of Freedom Lake.